You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
Adam, you said something about the fact that these workers, because of the education that they've received as union folks and the fact that they know that they've got each other's back and they're all able to walk off the job in solidarity together as opposed to, individually bargaining. And so, that they don't have as much of the starvation and homelessness held over them like workers in a non-union workplace do. That's a good segue into a question that we got from the YouTube chat from Andrew Wilkening. He asked, do you think that current high demand for employees in fast food and retail gives workers in those industries more power to organize and get what they deserve? There are a couple of responses to that. One, do they have more power? Absolutely, they have more power. The problem is that the power that they have is time limited because the power that they have comes from the fact that they are less, not completely, but they are less threatened with starvation and homelessness now because of the unemployment stimuluses that have come out from the federal government as a result of the pandemic and things like that. But that's all time limited. That's going to expire at some point. And these retailers, these fast food joints are like, they are trying, like you can read it in all the news articles about that. They are really trying to hold on until the unemployment stimulus ends so that they can then hold starvation and homelessness over their workers again. And you can read the contempt that the bosses have, that the corporate media has for these workers who, now that they're not threatened with, or they're not as threatened with unemployment, with starvation as a result of not taking a job that doesn't pay you enough. Some people are just not taking jobs because they're not being fairly compensated. And the unemployment stimulus now is only $300 a week more. And so the maximum unemployment you can receive currently is $575 a week in Alabama. That's like $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. That is the maximum that you can receive in Alabama. Okay, if you as an employer are not doing enough, that money looks better than your job, screw you.
Right. If unemployment is more attractive than what you're offering for employment, then your job sucks.
Yeah, screw you. Okay? And I freaking dare you. I dare you, Mr. Small Business Owner, to call in and give me your tears about how you can't get any workers to come in and work for your starvation wages. 1-866-494-9866. I want to hear it. Give it to me. All right? Give it to me.
You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Valley Labor Report. My name is Jacob Morrison, here with my co-hosts David Story and Adam Keller. So we were talking about the fact that a lot of these service sector, retail jobs, right, they're having such a hard time. They're having such a hard time finding workers. It's so sad. It's really so sad because they can't offer a job that looks better than a maximum, right? Remember, that's maximum $24,000 a year. It could be as low as $400 a month. It could be as low as $400 a month, or $400 a week, which would be $1,600 a month, which would be $18,000 a year, something like that. Seriously, I said it before the break, and I'll say it again. If you've got a job and it doesn't look better than $18,000 to $24,000 a year, screw you. Okay? Like seriously. And the fact that this is such a big story that, oh no, restaurants are having such a hard time fill these positions. Like, what that tells you is that these jobs are so bad that living like 50% above the poverty line is better than these jobs. Like, pay the workers more, give them benefits, give them time off, give them a real schedule, and you'll be able to get folks, okay? Like, I worked for a restaurant. I know how hard it can be, and I know that a lot of those folks, they wouldn't be there if it weren't for the fact that they would starve without it, you know? And so, like, the only thing that all these stories convince me of is that we need to permanently expand our unemployment payments, that we need to permanently expand the unemployment payments so that these jobs are not fundamentally coercive. Because that's what they are right now. And so, you know, these business owners, these bosses, these managers, these corporations, they are just trying to hold on until they can lord starvation and homelessness over their workers again. They're trying to hold on until they get back to the good old days where their workers will die without their job.
All this chatter, it just goes to prove how much of our economy relies on people being in despair or at the edge of despair.
Yeah.
Much of it, these quote-unquote essential work, right? So you're telling me that I'm essential. You need me
right.
to stay open, regardless of the fact that there may be a pandemic around me. But I'm not so essential that I'm actually worth a living wage.
Right.
But I do think the point remains that right now would be a good time, I think, to organize in the fast food industry because you have this huge demand for labor and the supply is fairly limited because of these factors we're talking about. But one of the listeners brought up the huge amount of turnover in the restaurant and service industry, and that is one of the biggest obstacles to organizing.
Right.
It's also a symptom of a really messed up industry. Right. I mean, if you have a huge turnover rate, you're probably not doing things very well by your employees.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's exactly right that now, because of the fact that they're having trouble filling these positions, workers do have way more power in these industries than they would have, like, outside of this context. So, like, if you're in the area, or if you're not in the area, like if you're just somewhere in the country and you're like, and you want to be put in touch with a union, holler at us. Like, we've got connections all over the country. We know, and where we don't have connections, we have connections that can get us connections, right? Like, we know folks, if you want to start organizing on your job, especially if you're in this community, like, holler at us. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. We're on Facebook at the Valley Labor Report. Our DMs are open in both of those places. We'll talk to you. Like, that's what we do, right? That's what we're about. We want to organize workers. We want their lives to be better. We want them to have more power on the job because labor creates all wealth. All wealth should go to labor, so we want to empower workers to take that. So remember, folks, the North Alabama DSA has a necessities drive this Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. at the IBEW Local 558 Union Hall on Clinton Avenue, right across from Yellowhammer and Campus 805. Bring by your non-perishable food items, PPE, clothes, blankets, all that good stuff, and your donations will be forwarded to the Manna House. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week, get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/The Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. Adam is not on Twitter. But we should get him one of those accounts so that we can have his hot takes. We're going to have to get that fixed. If you miss part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. We also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So to see if we are on your listening platform of choice, go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. We've got a website where you can buy our fantastic union-made hats, union-made stickers, and union-made bumper stickers. thevalleylaborreport.org. We've still got a lot. We've got like 50 hats left, so make sure you go by and get one of those. They're $35. That includes shipping. It's really good. It's really nice. Me and Adam are both rocking ours. You should check it out, thevalleylaborreport.org. And finally, if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/thevalleylaborreport.